Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, December 20th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. A couple of quick clarifications. First off, the number you see over here will be changing, and the candlestick you see right there will be changing. That is because the market is still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. Stock number one here, SLNO, and I'll go ahead and state the obvious. Huge movement today. Absolutely huge volume, well above average volume. So moral of the story, a lot of people are going to be watching this one headed into Tuesday. So let's map out some key levels here. First level that you got to think a whole lot of people are going to be watching is this area right up here at $2.40. My ability to draw that trend line right there is not a special talent. It's not a great discovery. I say that because when a lot of people are watching the same things and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So while there are no guarantees in the market, is it plausible to think that if the price can work its way up to 240 and get a break up through it, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That's certainly a plausible outcome to think through. As far as levels of support, so if you like to play pullbacks, interesting level down here at the $1.80 mark, and then maybe to make this a little bit easier to see, let's talk about the overall pattern, keep it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, you have the big movement there. Let's put our golf hole down here to make it a little bit more visual, and we have ourselves a bull pennant pattern. So if you like to play bull pennants, if you like to play stocks down below $5, here you go. Next, CEI, a big mover today with the gap up here, and it has pulled back. So yes, as of right now, there is a downwards channel that has formed throughout the course of the day. You can't take that away from it. However, assuming you do care about the bigger picture point of view, well, part of that is, well, you have to consider the entire picture. So yes, today the price has pulled back, formed a downwards channel, but what was going on before today? Where's the price? Well, the price was way down here before it exploded all the way up here. And in doing so, what I've now just drawn is a bull flag pattern. So as I've already talked about with the first one, there are no guarantees in the market. So unfortunately, just because there's a bullish pattern doesn't mean that for sure the price is going to go up. My point here is that even with the pullback today, once again, assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, it is still a bullish pattern moving forward. So if you like to play penny stocks, if you like to play bull flag patterns, definitely keep an eye on CEI. Next one, VKTX, big movement today. And once again, have a very well-defined level that you got to think a lot of people will be watching. So it goes back to that talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies, and that level that a lot of people got to think are watching is that $7.25 mark. So just to repeat myself, no guarantees, but certainly plausible, valid to think that if the price gets up to that level and then breaks up through it, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure. So keep a close eye on that. In terms of levels of pullback, that level down there stands out to me quite a bit at the $5.80 mark. And maybe a couple levels in between there, but basically because it went straight up right there, not a whole other, a lot of obvious areas other than down here at that 580 mark. Again, not saying that it's going down to that level, but if it does, that's the one that, at least for my eye, stands out the most. But I think the most interesting dynamic moving forward is everybody's going to be watching that level and wondering, okay, can the price curl back around, get up here and push up through it? Definitely keep a close eye on it. Next one, COSM, an absolute monster on Friday. I mean, just a huge move. And then just like that, after I was on Friday, things got really sketchy and then produced a huge gap down. But the interesting thing here is after the gap down, it's not like the price just continued to collapse and collapse and collapse. The price at least did start to go sideways. Now, let me be very clear, and as I mentioned earlier, I wish I could say trading was this easy, but just because the price gets hammered to the downside and then goes sideways does not mean that for sure guaranteed this is the bottom. My point here is it's at least a rational, conclusion to say, okay, maybe, just maybe, some sort of bottom is being found. You can see down here the selling pressure has really dropped off, so not a lot of selling pressure today. So who knows, maybe this is some sort of leading indicator of some sort of turn back up. Now, am I saying it gets back into the 20s? I'm not saying that at all. My point here is that it's an interesting situation because of how strong it was on Friday, how bad it got beat down today. But then even after the beat down, after the gap down, like I said, no massive collapses to the downside, has just been going sideways. So is this some sort of little miniature bottom before it tries to make a turn back upwards, with the key break being, let's just call it $10.80, which is that 200 period moving average? Certainly an interesting dynamic to keep an eye on. Next one, AMC, and the downtrend continues with new lower lows today. which is what makes this such a brutal chart. Not necessarily the fact that it was red, but just because it continues to break down through these levels of support. So updates need to be made. Going to go ahead and get rid of that level. And then the first key update is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So going into the day, that $5.12 mark was the key area of support. But with the price breaking below there, you'd expect it to act as resistance. Actually already played out right there once. Price tried to bounce back upwards, and that's right where it got rejected back to the downside. So if there are any attempted turnarounds, then yes, right there at 512 would be that first big question mark on whether or not the price can get above it and stay above it. So keep a close eye on that. In terms of levels of support, nothing fancy or complicated here. Just a question of where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was down there at the $4.78 mark. So $4.78 for that reason, and that reason alone will be that key level of support to watch moving forward. But yeah, overall, the bleeding continues. Real quickly, wanted to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online trading I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching on my site itself, then there's an area on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more, certainly get signed up for the free training. Next one, MULN. I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that line here because the main dynamic, and this will mean a bit more to those that have watched past videos, is all about this trend line right here, which as of now is remaining fully in effect, and the price is still well within striking distance. So it goes back to the talking point of that trend line, and my ability to draw the trend line right there is nothing special. A lot of people have done that. So you can start to talk self-fulfilling prophecy. So yeah, if the price can start to work its way back upwards and push up through that level, does that guarantee a huge move? No, but it's plausible to assume so because so many people, you got to think, are watching that very straightforward trend line that's been in motion here now for the past few days. So continue to watch that as a main area of resistance. In terms of levels of support, if this thing continues to pull back, next key level going to be down there right at the 26-cent mark. So keep a close eye on that. But again, in my opinion, the most interesting dynamic is all about that trend line and can the price get a push back upwards and fight up through it? Let's see what happens. Next one, NIO. Lost track of this one for a while, but for you longer time viewers, hopefully you knew how to kind of navigate those waters because for the longest time, I was talking about this sideways channel with the resistance there, with the support there, but you can see last week, price broke below the channel, tried to get back above it. That didn't last very long, fell back below it, and then today, just that much more continuation to the downside. So not shocking to see, given that the price finally did break to the downside of this channel, but, wanted to give that quick little update before I start to do next key levels. And as far as areas to keep an eye on now moving forward. Next, definitely very interesting level is this gap close location right there at 1085, which I think is basically right where the price bounced off of today. But you look back here, you can see former resistance, resistance, resistance. So just a classic example of this area of resistance now acting as support right there. Will it continue to act as support? Only time will tell, but so far so good in regards to that behaving the way you would want to see it behave. So 1085 going to be a very important level of support for that reason. In terms of levels of resistance, if this thing tries to bounce back upwards, definitely that main area of resistance now going to be this former area of support, which puts the breakout area and area of resistance right up there around $11.55. But yeah, today, brutal, brutal day. Good to see that the price was at least able to bounce off that level of support. But then, can that continue moving forward? We'll have to see what happens. Next, SMMT, absolutely monster mover today. I mean, this thing has essentially gone straight up, not exactly straight up, but, just for simplicity's sake, has basically gone straight up, which makes this final 30 minutes as I talk. And again, this is why I like to do these when the market's still open. But you can see right here, late afternoon, the price is now starting to pull back, which, okay, maybe there's some sort of pullback opportunity because you don't want to chase the price. And yeah, people that were buying up there, they chased, and now they're definitely, suffering some pain here. But as far as people that like to play pullbacks within overall stronger moves, the main pullback area that really stands out to me right here at $4.43, give or take a little bit. So if the price does continue to pull back, that could definitely be a very, very interesting level. But if you do like to play breakouts and you want to see this thing first show some signs of strength before, taking any action, then as of now, $5.35 going to be that main area because you can see twice now the price has tried to get above that area and has failed with this most recent failure now leading into this deeper pullback right there. So whether you're a breakout player or a pullback player, you can keep an eye on a couple of those levels. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and one that I'm always tracking and will definitely be tracking tomorrow. Price all over the place today. I mean, big collapse down, very, very impressive move back to the upside with the price now coming back down. So definitely some key levels to keep an eye on. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this level of resistance down now that we have more data, and not much, but key level now being the $155 mark. But really, before you put too much emphasis on that, prices first got to prove that it can get above that purple line there, the moving average, which is now, as you can see right there, moved down below that area of resistance. Therefore, it is the higher priority level of resistance, current value of that. Let's just call it the $154 mark. So keep an eye on that in terms of resistance levels if it does continue to bounce. As far as supports are concerned, you have a near-term level of support right there at the 149 mark. And then if 149 cannot hold, next key level after that is just essentially where the price bottomed out today, down at 146. But yes, Tesla's been all over the place, very big volume, and in my opinion, this is only going to continue on moving forward with all the drama going on. So as traders, though, we like drama. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that allows you to play the NASDAQ. So if you think that the NASDAQ market as a whole will rise, then this one will also rise. The big differentiator being this one just allows you access at a much cheaper price point, which is why it's one of the most popular ETFs out there. But so as you would expect, NASDAQ once again today was getting beat down. So this one also has now gone down. And this is where updates here need to be made. And the first update, once again, just based on that foundational rule, that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So right now you can see the prices sitting down below that level, which makes that near-term level of resistance right there at $18.27. The other level that I'm very curious about now is going to be this trend line here, which again, no special talent, not trying to apply any of that, but you got to think a lot of people have drawn that trend line, going to change its style here just to make it stand out a bit more. So that's another area of resistance where, yes, that's great, even if the price does push up through this level of resistance right there in the near term. Like I said, that's a step in the right direction, but I want to get too excited because not that far away, you're then going to have to deal with that trend line there, and then you're also going to have to potentially deal with that purple line, the 50-period moving average. So yes, things can recover. I'm just saying that there's a lot of work that needs to be done now on the bulls' part in terms of levels of support. If this thing continues to pull back to the next key overarching level of support, this point now going to be down there at $17.50. So keep an eye on that as a potential bounce point if this thing does continue to bleed moving into Tuesday. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free training. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, December 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoyed, do two things for me. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment below. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out. Everybody take care. Have a good one.